Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my table in a coffee shop for a woman who supposedly was recovering from back surgery? On Saturday mornings I study at a cafe. It is always crowded, coffee shop noise helps me focus, so I show up at opening time, 8 a.m., order some food and a drink, and stay for 2 to 3 hours. The layout is mostly two-person tables that can be pushed together, with some larger tables as well as counter seating. Even though I go on my own, I always sit at a two-person table, as the counters are uncomfortable for me and they do not have much space. I also like sitting against the wall so that people walking by can't see my computer screen. Yesterday at 9 a.m., I was doing work at a table when a random woman sat across from me. This ticked me off because I don't like my personal space being invaded, and I would have appreciated it if she had asked me before sitting down, but I ignored it. I was near the counter that day, so she might have just been waiting for her food. As I looked up, I noticed she was talking to another woman in the line to order. We'll call the first woman Beatrice and the second woman Susie. Susie was saying how they might have to take their food to go because no tables were available. Beatrice didn't address me directly, but she gestured to me, as if planning to take over my table. This ticked me off more because it was like I was an object that could be moved, but I knew when the time came I would ask them not to sit at my table. Sure enough, Susie got the order in and brought her number to my table. She then asked if I wouldn't mind moving to the counters so that her friend could sit here, saying her friend had recently had back surgery and the counters would be too uncomfortable for her. I told her no, the counters are uncomfortable for me too, and there would not be enough space for all of my books and notebooks. She called me rude and inconsiderate and said I shouldn't even be there because I wasn't eating anything. I said I had bought breakfast and a drink, not that it was their business, and that they could take things to go. Eventually, one of the workers came over and asked if they were bothering me. I said they were, and Beatrice and Susie were asked to leave. When I got home, I recounted the story to my roommate. I thought she would be as horrified as I was by their behavior, but she was hesitant to take a side. She said their behavior was rude and entitled, but at the same time I was taking up a table at a notoriously busy cafe for a long time and I could have moved. Later, my sister likened it to not giving up a seat to a disabled person on public transit. This I don't agree with because transportation is a need for a lot of people, and these people didn't need to sit down at this cafe. Also, maybe this is a hole of me, but I think a lot of people say they have back issues or some other mild condition just to get things they want. Both my sister and my roommate said it was a "they had to be there" kind of situation for them to decide, so I'm wondering if any of you can decide if I'm the a-hole without having been there? Top comments. Not the a-hole. I agree that she didn't need to sit down. If she did recently have back surgery, she shouldn't be dining at places with limited seating. Plus, the way they went about trying to appropriate your table was pretty bold. I would have stayed at the table just because of that. Everyone sucks here. After your intro I was ready to hate you, but the way it sounds like they just turned up and assumed they could take your table is absolutely infuriating. You studying in a busy cafe for multiple hours, taking up a two-person table at the busiest time of the week, is crappy of you. I think it makes you an a-hole, though some might say since you're paying you're entitled to do so. Their entitlement makes them a-holes. I personally think it's rude to occupy a table at a busy cafe for hours. Everyone sucks here. It's literally impossible where I live to get a spot at a cafe to socialize because of people like you who order something and then stay for 2+ hours past when they finish said item. They literally fill up the cafes and you either have to wait 20+ minutes, or more, for one to leave or reschedule/relocate your 30-minute catch-up with a friend or whatever, which is extremely frustrating. You should be going to a library or less busy cafe to do this, but she shouldn't have pushed the matter when you said no. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend I can't make her wedding dress despite making them for 2 other friends? I, 38F, am a dressmaker and have my own shop. It has been a custom in my friend group that my wedding gift to friends who marry has been an original wedding dress made to their taste and have done this for 2 friends. I love my job and I love my friends, so it has always been an easy choice for me. However, I am currently 26 weeks pregnant with my first child and trying to lessen my workload as I prepare for my maternity leave and pass larger projects over to my employees. My friend informed me last night that she is getting married. I was of course so happy for her and congratulated her. She asked if I'd be making her dress for her and I told her of course, to just let me know when they had a date, and I was told they already had a date, January 19th. That was fine, a year and 5 months, perfect, plenty of time to do the designs and make it, and I expressed as much to her, but she corrected me. It wasn't January 19th 2026 like I assumed, but January 19th 2025. I was a bit shocked at this and told her that if that's the date she'd picked I'd have to take back my promise, as there is no way I can make her dress in that time frame, as I'll not be too long postpartum. I asked her to reconsider the date if she wanted me to make a dress, pointing out how 5 months wasn't much to plan a wedding anyway, but she insisted that was when she wanted it. I didn't push as it was up to her, but I made it clear I will not be able to make her dress for her then. She didn't understand this at all, pointing out how I'll be taking time off work soon anyway, and can't I just use that time to make her dress? I admit in hindsight I got a bit snappish here, and she likely didn't realize just how much work goes into a wedding dress, but I asked her if she'd hit her head and why she'd think it's okay to ask me to put stress on my pregnancy for her wedding dress. She has been putting messages in the group chat calling me out for it and saying how it's easy to tell who my favorites are, and it's clear her feelings are hurt. I'm annoyed but also feeling a bit regretful about this. I can't trust my employees to make a wedding dress without me, as their skill level isn't up to that, but maybe I could have a rehearsal dinner dress made for her, or even a reception dress to suit the hurt of her not getting the custom dress she wants. Top comments. Not the a-hole. So, you in fact offered her an incredibly generous gift that will take you a great deal of work, and you advised her that this amount of work needs a certain time frame, and the ungrateful a-hole has the nerve to demand that you do it in a time frame you can't accommodate, while on maternity leave and recovering from the birth of your baby? You are in no way an a-hole here. She is though, and I'd suggest that given her attitude, she does not deserve a dress from you. Not the a-hole. Wow, that's some hella audacity of your friend to suggest you risk your health and sanity in order to make her a wedding gown in 5 months. You're growing a human, and then you will be birthing a tiny human and then recovering from giving birth while taking care of a newborn. Where does she think wedding gown making is going to go amid all of that? My gosh. Next story. Am I the a-hole for eating meat at my aunt's house when my dad wasn't around? So I'm 15M and I live with my dad, 45M, and his boyfriend, Mark, 40M. My mum died from cancer when I was 9. And then a year later dad came out as gay and started dating Mark. They've been together since and I'm cool with it. I just want dad to be happy. The issue is that since dad got with Mark, he's become this hardcore vegan. Like, out of nowhere, we went from eating normal food to everything being plant-based. At first, I thought it was just gonna be at home, but nope. Dad decided that I'm not allowed to eat anything that's not vegan even when I'm not at home. He says it's about ethics and not supporting animal cruelty, which I get, but I don't see why I can't make my own choices when I'm away from the house. So here's where I might have messed up. I stay with my aunt, my mum's sister, every other weekend. She's always been really chill and doesn't have all these crazy rules like dad. A few weeks ago, I was at my aunt's place and she asked if I wanted a burger for dinner. Dad wasn't there, so I figured, why not? I haven't had meat in forever and I was really missing it. I ate the burger. It was amazing, honestly. I didn't think it was a big deal since it wasn't at home and dad wasn't around. But then, when dad came to pick me up, my aunt mentioned it. She wasn't trying to cause drama, she just casually brought it up, and dad lost it. He totally flipped out on my aunt, saying she was disrespecting him and his choices and that she shouldn't be feeding me stuff that goes against his rules. Then he turned on me, calling me ungrateful and saying I'd betrayed him and everything he's been trying to teach me. Since then, he's been giving me the silent treatment and hasn't talked to me at all. It's super awkward at home now. I feel like I was just making my own decision, especially since I wasn't even at home. But now I'm wondering if I should have respected his rules even when I'm not with him. I really don't want to hurt him, but this whole thing feels so unfair. Am I the a-hole for eating meat at my aunt's place when dad wasn't around? Should I have just stuck to his vegan rules even when I'm not at home? Top comments. Not the a-hole, flipping out on you and your aunt is not okay. And giving you the silent treatment? That's a control tactic and not healthy in any relationship. You're more than old enough to be able to make your own choices about your diet, if you'd like to be vegan or not. Him making that choice for you is what's unethical. He doesn't have the right to force that lifestyle on you, especially when you're not in his home. I think it's up to you to decide if it's best to bring and bear it until you're 18 and hopefully able to move out on your own, or start standing firm in what you want in your own diet. Either way, I think it's worth talking it over with a counselor at school, to help you navigate this. The way he's treating you around this subject isn't okay. Not the a-hole. You're growing into adulthood. You need to be able to make your own decisions. In a few years, you'll be in college and making a lot of your own choices. Your father is being completely unreasonable, not uncommon for a convert. As long as you don't bring meat into his house, it shouldn't make any difference to him. Veganism is his choice, not yours. Not the a-hole. I love that vegans exclusively give themselves a bad name all on their own. You're 3 years out from adulthood. He needs to get a grip and realize you aren't him, and he can force his crap on you all he wants, but you can just decide to stop the moment you're 18. Ask him if he would go as far as to never speak to you again if that happens. If so, you have a lot bigger issues on your hands. Next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my daughter wear whatever she is comfortable in my house? Okay, this requires some important details. First, I am a 37M. My ex-wife, Deanna, 36F, and I have 2 kids, our daughter, Jane, 12F, and our son, Eddie, 10M. We got married semi-young at 23 and 24, we divorced amicably 5 years ago. Deanna recently married a man she has been seeing for a few years, who I will call A. Something I need to bring up here is that I am half Mexican, Deanna is a white woman, and A is of Middle Eastern descent. While I wouldn't say A and I are friends, I do think he's a pretty nice guy, and seems like a really good match for Deanna. The kids also like him, so that's another bonus in my book. Deanna and I split custody of the kids. However, Deanna and A got married 2 months ago. Since then, Deanna has chosen to wear a covering, which I am sorry but the name slips my mind. She converted to A's religion as well. Which, I'm very happy about if that's what she wants. But last week, when she dropped off the kids, I was surprised to see that Jane was wearing one as well. But, I assumed she must have wanted to wear it and was maybe deciding to convert her faith as well, so I didn't bring it up. I feel that she's old enough to decide for herself, and as an atheist myself, I'm all for my children choosing what they believe. A few days ago, I was going to go see a movie with my kids but told them I had to finish some paperwork in my office first, which took about half an hour. When I walked back into the living room, Jane was wearing one of Eddie's t-shirts and a pair of shorts. We had a conversation which kind of went like this. Me, what's going on? Jane, are you supposed to take off your covering? I don't really know how any of it works, sorry if that offends anyone. Eddie, she hates wearing that stuff. So I let her borrow some of my clothes. Jane, yeah Dad, I hate it. Mom makes me wear it. She says I have to wear it all the time, even at your house. Me, so, you aren't choosing to wear it? Jane, no. I never want to wear it again. I checked her bag, and sure enough, it contained tank tops, underwear, and the coverings, which cover the hair and body, but not the face. I took the kids on a quick Target trip before the movie to get Jane some clothes of her liking. 2 days ago, when Deanna came by to pick up the kids, she flipped out on Jane for not wearing the traditional clothing. Deanna and I got into a heated argument, and I told her that Jane shouldn't have to wear the covering if she doesn't want to, especially because it's very hot in our city. Deanna argued that she and the kids are now different. AMD follow a stricter religion. I might be the a-hole because I argued back that it is stupid that the religion would force young girls to cover up so much all the time and be so strict about it. Deanna took offense, and left with the kids. I feel bad because I don't want to insult a wild country or countries, but I don't think my daughter should have to wear anything she doesn't want to. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. So the covering is called a hijab, but Islam does not require women to cover. Plenty of Muslim women are not hijabi. The decision to cover, ideally, should be a personal one. One that you feel personally called/lead to. Plenty of Muslim women adopt the hijab well into adulthood and/or also go through times of covering and not covering for this reason. What I'm saying is, you're not wrong, but you're blaming the wrong thing. It's Deanna and A's decision to make her cover like this. They are the ones who have this requirement for her, and they are blaming religion so that they don't personally look like the bad guys for instituting modesty rules. Tell them that their modesty rules are for their house only. And you may even find allies within their religious community who would vehemently oppose a girl being forced to cover against her will, especially when her father opposes this. Perhaps even their imam. Opie replies, "Thank you for teaching me something. I really had no idea about this until I did some research for myself. I have nothing against Muslims or their religion. I just said some stupid things in the heat of the moment. Thank you. Not the a-hole, and you better take steps in court to make sure you shut this nonsense down now. Jane is only 12. They are going to make her life a living hell in her teens if you allow this to continue. This is not a my house my rules situation, and it isn't about comfort or solidarity or being PC. Your wife is allowing her husband to force his own religion on your daughter, a child over whom he has absolutely no authority. Shut it down." Opie replies, "I didn't want to have to go back to court, but you're right. Go back to court and get custody of your daughter before they take her out of the country. I'd head to court. She, the mom, is an a-hole to force her daughter, and son, too, into a religion just because she married someone. Not the a-hole in any way. Stand up for your daughter and her choices. Your ex and her new husband are attempting to forcibly convert your daughter against her will and live by the values of a faith she doesn't practice. There should be more anger in this post. Protect your daughter." Next story. Am I the a-hole after coming home from work only to see my things reorganized by someone who doesn't live in my home? To give some context, my girlfriend and I moved into our apartment about 6 months ago. So far so good. The only issues I have been having are boundary issues with her parents. She is a family-oriented person and takes pride in family time, which is one of the things I love most about her. However, I come from an entirely different upbringing, having very few people to turn to and relying on nobody but myself. I'm very private, I like my quiet time. My girlfriend's mother speaks without really thinking things through and doing whatever she wants no matter the place or time. An example, we have an office space where the majority of the things I own stay in. I have a ton of Pokemon and baseball cards worth thousands of dollars. I have them in books, some just out in the open, and some are all over the place. Either way, in my weird way, I know where everything is and why it's there. Her parents came over with boxes and boxes of stuff my girlfriend left over at her parents' place and decided to make their own little place in the office for them. I should start by saying I'm not home, I'm working a 12-hour shift at work while all of this is going on. I get home, it's close to 11 p.m. at night, I'm exhausted, I'm looking forward to a nice shower and some sleep. Only to come home to my girlfriend not giving me a heads up. Her parents for some reason were eating dinner at 10:30 p.m. Her mother was in our bedroom folding my underwear, which is entirely weird on its own, and she spent the day organizing all of my cards and stuff I had laying around. I am beyond mad. I can't find the things I had out. My girlfriend didn't see a real issue with the situation until I started to yell in frustration. I don't like my things being touched, and most of all, I don't like my things being moved around when I'm not home. We live here. It's one thing to drop a few boxes off and leave them for us to figure out what to do with them. I didn't ask anybody to organize my entire closet and office space. Am I overreacting? If not, I don't know how to get my point across to my girlfriend without upsetting her. She just stays quiet and doesn't speak when I'm speaking or ask for her to talk. She completely shuts down on me. I don't start by yelling, but this type of situation has happened more than a handful of times. The last thing I want to do after a 12-hour shift at work is entertaining people who have turned my home upside down. After they had left our apartment, I asked, "Why didn't you say anything to your mother about touching things in the office?" She said, "I did, and that's as far as it went." Am I the a-hole? Update and add on to the story. The update: after a long talk, she promised this is something that won't happen again. She spoke to her parents about the issue over the phone. Don't know how that conversation went. Either way, I don't really care. I should have added this into our little story, but I asked for her hand in marriage about 2 months ago, and I plan on proposing in 2 weeks. Her parents have been asking for me to reconsider, wait, and criticize how I want to do it, how I'm doing it. Telling me she should have picked out the ring. It's a family ring that has been customized, etc., etc. etc. Buying an expensive ring, a planned vacation, and proposing on a beach just isn't special enough. They asked me to come to their home to try and convince me to wait, and I kindly told them I was not waiting for anything. To make my girlfriend happy, I wanted her family there for the proposal. After I declined their offer of waiting, they basically said, well then, do whatever you're going to do, we aren't going to be there, and I am. We are both 30 plus years old and live together and most of all love each other, and since this event has happened both of her parents have been extra annoying lately. Not sure how relevant this is. Top comments. Not the a-hole. Wow, sorry dude. I hope you didn't yell in front of her parents. She definitely should have texted before you arrived. It's bad enough to stack those boxes in your office and shut the door, but rearranging and organizing? No, you must ask before doing that. You're going to have to set family boundaries with your girlfriend. Nicely and calmly. First, stay out of your man cave. Opie replies. I didn't yell in front of her parents. I had a conversation after the fact. Unfortunately, my frustration came out. Not the a-hole, but nip this in the bud now. I mean right now. Touching someone's underwear that is not your kid or your partner is a line too far. I live with my son-in-law, and I won't do his and my daughter's laundry because it has his knickers in it. That is an invasion of privacy. The underwear, the office, the closet, all of it. Potential in-laws have demonstrated they have no boundaries, but most importantly, your girlfriend has no backbone. You will not be able to manage her lack of respectful interaction because they are her parents and that is her responsibility. Talk to everyone now. Not the a-hole. You're the only one living there and she is constantly letting her family invade your space. If you were in their home and they rearranged your stuff, you would be pissed. This is no different. I don't think you're overreacting at all. Opie replies. We both live in the apartment, but nonetheless, I don't go over to their home and touch things like you said. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.